So people ask me this all the time. Is it actually worth living in San Diego? Well, that's why I'm laying it all out there and giving you the real pros and cons of living in San Diego. And hopefully after watching this, you'll know exactly what to expect before moving here. Now, real quick, my name's Nenad and I'm a real estate advisor. So if you have any questions about life around here, the real estate market, or really anything else you can think of, then just shoot me an email or text me directly. All right, let's jump into one of the first pros of living in San Diego, and that's how super easy it is to stay active here. There's over 70 miles of coastline, and one of my favorite things is that every beach has its own personality. So let's say you have kids and you want a beach that has a playground and bathrooms, well then Coronado is one of the best we have. But if you're closer to North County San Diego, then pretty much anywhere in Carlsbad is going to be perfect for you. They're all super clean, they're safe, and they always have lifeguards on duty. Now if you're a surfer, you got to check out one of the best surf spots we have over at Swami's Beach. This one's in the city of Encinitas, and because there's so many other great spots in Encinitas, it was actually named one of the top 20 surf towns in the entire world. But San Diego has so much more to offer than just the beach. There's hiking trails everywhere, there's over 4,000 parks, there's bike paths, fitness studios, and we have so many different sports leagues to sign up for. But maybe you just want to kick back and take it easy. Well, then there's farmers markets, outdoor concerts, sunset movie nights, or you can keep it super low key and grab some lunch with friends and just enjoy the amazing San Diego weather. Now, if you like this video so far, make sure you hit the subscribe button and like the video. It really helps the channel grow and it lets me make more content just like this. Now, the next pro is San Diego's education system. We have 4 of the top 30 school districts in the entire state, and that's a huge plus for families out here. So there's Poway, San Diego, Coronado, Carlsbad, but just know that houses here are going to be much more expensive. So like in Carmel Valley, the median price is about $2.5 million, but they also have Canyon Crest Academy, which is the 5th best public school in California. So a lot of families want to move to Carmel Valley just because their schools are some of the best you'll find. Also, Poway's district is ranked 19th in the state, and the median price for a house there is a little bit lower at $1.3 million. All right, so I'm going to group these next 3 cons together, and we've got the road conditions, traffic, and high gas prices. And to be completely upfront with you, you're going to be driving a lot if you move to San Diego. It's just part of daily life at this point, and 99% of the time, you're going to end up taking the car. But the thing is, it's not always an easy drive because the roads around here, they're in pretty bad shape. Now, they're not really bad everywhere, but the closer you get to central San Diego, it seems like they get worse and worse. A lot of the roads are uneven or they have huge cracks and potholes, so it's definitely really frustrating, especially because we pay such high taxes here. All right, the next thing's the traffic. And in the last 5 or 10 years, it feels like it's only gotten worse. Now, we do have a few public transportation options, but honestly, I hardly know anyone that uses it. And what's crazy is that over 90% of people in San Diego end up commuting to work with a car. So during rush hour, most of the freeways get pretty backed up. So what you thought was a quick 20-minute drive is actually going to take more like 45 to an hour. Also, gas isn't cheap here. We're at $4.59 a gallon right now, and basically 70 cents of that price is taxes. So yeah, for all the taxes that we end up paying, you'd expect the roads around here to be in perfect condition. All right, so if I'm being completely honest, the number one con about San Diego is the very high housing costs. So right now, the median price for a detached home is just under $1.1 million, and for condos and townhomes, you're at about $650,000. And that's just the median price. So if you're looking at some of the more coastal communities, those can easily get into the multi-millions. Also, if you're renting, it's not going to be a whole lot cheaper. So a 1-bedroom apartment in a decent area can run you well over $2,500 a month, and 2-bedroom apartments are in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. So it doesn't really matter if you own or rent, because the price of housing is the number one financial challenge for people that live here. And the thing is, it's not just your rent and your mortgage payment, but it's everything else that's added on top of it. You're paying anywhere from $150 to $250 a month for electricity. Then there's your gas, water, trash, and sewer fees, which is probably another $200 to $250. So after all these other expenses, you gotta add an extra $300 to $400 a month to your budget. But the good thing is that homes in San Diego tend to hold their value really well. The demand here almost always outpaces the supply, which ends up creating some of the highest gains in the entire country. But the market has slowed down a bit here in San Diego, so hopefully things calm down because prices were just going up like crazy. But for now, home prices are still higher than they've ever been. So if you're just getting started in the housing market, then it's going to be a lot harder to break in into it here. All right, now let's talk about another pro, which is San Diego's job market. So if you didn't know, we have a huge military presence here. And between active duty, civilian employees, and defense contractors, that alone is tens of thousands of jobs. And all the other related industries like aerospace, cybersecurity, and manufacturing, they all make up this giant ecosystem that's connected to the military. Then there's our biotech and healthcare sectors, and these are absolutely booming right now. Companies like Scripps, Thermo Fisher, and Sharp are some of the best in the country, and San Diego's ranked a top 3 biotech hub right behind Boston and San Francisco. We have about 1,400 life science companies, almost 80,000 jobs, and the average salary is about $140,000. Then there's also healthcare, which is another huge industry here in San Diego. It employs thousands of people, and the demand for healthcare professionals is only going up. Now, tech is another big industry that's growing here. There's dozens of software and AI companies in places like downtown, UTC, and Sorrento Valley. And what's really cool is the new startup scene here. There's millions in venture capital flowing into San Diego, and we're starting to become a big innovation hub. But like anything else, the competition's pretty tough because everyone's trying to land those high-paying positions. So I totally recommend having something lined up before you move to San Diego. All right, another pro is the incredible food scene we have here. And honestly, if you're a foodie or you just love trying new restaurants, then you're absolutely gonna love it here. So let's start off with my personal favorite, and that's our Mexican food. Carne asada fries and California burritos are absolute staples here. And the best part is that there's everything from hole-in-the-wall spots all the way to super fancy Mexican restaurants. Now, because San Diego is so diverse, you've got amazing ramen, sushi, Italian, you name it, and you can find it here. Also, we have a big craft beer culture. And at one point, we had more breweries than anywhere else in the country. So you get everything from the big names all the way down to our local tap rooms. And that means you'll never run out of new places to try. All right, so the next con about living in San Diego is the wildfire risk. And the reality is that it's hot and dry here, especially when September and October come around. We also get these really strong Santa Ana winds, and it's basically just the perfect storm for a wildfire. Now, some areas in San Diego are designated as high fire zones, and if you want to buy a house in one of these areas, then your insurance premium is going to be a lot higher, and some companies will just flat out deny you coverage. You also need to get what's called a defensible space inspection. So basically, the local fire department will come out and inspect the property, and they'll tell you if there's any brush clearing or tree trimming that you need to take care of. Now, if your house isn't just completely surrounded by open space, then you probably don't have a lot to worry about, and thankfully, big wildfires don't happen every year, so I'd say that most of the time, we're not even impacted by them. All right, so this last one could easily be a pro or a con, because it really depends on what kind of lifestyle you're looking for. There's not as much of that hustle and grind energy here that you get in a true big city, so it actually feels less stressful here. Even downtown San Diego doesn't have your typical city feel, and you don't really feel that rush like you do in LA or New York. But if you feed off of that high energy and you need constant movement and competition, then I'll be honest, San Diego's probably going to disappoint you. We're very much a quality of life city rather than a status city, and you hear a lot of people talk about work-life balance here. Of course, people want to have a good paying job, but they also want to go out for a surf or grab tacos after work, and they don't want to worry about chasing the next big thing. All right, well, there you go. Those are the real pros and cons of living in San Diego. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask down in the comments. Also, if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in San Diego, make sure you send me an email or text me directly. Also, don't forget to check out some of the other videos on my channel. They're all packed with a ton of information on San Diego. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.